Welcome to episode 9 of One Question, where we explore the elephant in the room connected with the work we bring to the world. These are conversations about the misperceptions people have with our work, sometimes from the conversations we have in our own head, what we've been taught, or societal norms. I'm your host, Stephanie McAuliffe, founder of The Way of the Diamond Warrior, an energy alchemist and trauma-informed business strategist, and I help guide leaders to build a business that's a reflection of their soul. Today, we are joined by the amazing Julie Delucca-Collins. Julie is the founder and CEO of Go Confidently Services and the host of the popular Casa de Confidence podcast and the Daily Ish podcast Brave Moves, which I love. I love both of them. Julie is also an award-winning and 2 times best-selling author of The Confident You and Confident You, the Raw Conversations book, of which I am a co-author of the latter. And Julie helps women business owners launch or grow their businesses by creating simple habits to achieve goals, make a profit, and change lives. Welcome, Julie. I'm so excited for our conversation today.
Thank you for having me, Stephanie. Always a pleasure to hang out with you in and out of the limelight.
Yes, right? And both of us in red today.
Yeah, my favorite color. I got it going on with the red.
Red
And
is
I love
fire. Red is
seeing you in the red. It
yeah,
looks phenomenal on you.
you as well. Thank you.
Mm.
So, Julie, tell us more about the work that you do and what is that elephant in the room, the misperception you want to take a bite out of today regarding this important work you bring to the world?
Well, this is a loaded question because I think that most of us um, do the work that we do because we're passionate. And yet we continue to work at making sure that we explain it correctly because sometimes what we do, it's not what people think we do. And for me, my company is Go Confidently Services. And at the cusp of it, right? The big thing is I help women find the confidence and I do so through habits. Now, that's probably a very high level view, but in the smaller, more micro description would be I help women entrepreneurs in midlife create that income from month to month and become visible as the thought leaders that they are because a lot of these incredible individuals who I work with are experts in their field, but then nobody is hiring them. So what I do is I help them get hired and I help them create the visibility. And as they're bringing new clients in, making sure that the systems in the back of the house is working as it should so that they can concentrate on what they do best. And that is providing value, helping individuals with transformation, growth, services, products, whatever it might be.
So what is that misperception that people think about your work versus what actually happens underneath the covers?
Oh, I think that misperception is that, confidence is all about habits and feel good and growth. And now we feel like an imposter, and all of a sudden we feel like I got it going on. And the misperception is my work is very strategic. My work, really, yes, of course, I'm a certified Tiny Habits course. And yes, my company is called Go Confidently Services. And I do believe confidence is not something you're born with, but it's a strategy. But the most important thing and the misperception is that it's not about just that work, it's the work that I did when I ran a multi-million-dollar company in my corporate career. I created systems and processes and delivery systems that help the company grow to that type of revenue. And that's what I help my individual clients also grow to. And we're working on some of them not only becoming 6-figure earners, but also beyond. And it really comes from making sure that the right things are in place. And I work on boring stuff, not just the woo.
So do you find that because sometimes people think that they can't begin until they have the confidence to begin,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so that's part of the imposter syndrome of I'm not there yet, I'm not like them. Do you
Mm.
find that building the systems and doing some of the day to day, actually, it's like building from the outside in to build from the inside out.
Yeah, this is the misconception too when it comes to habits and when it comes to confidence. Confidence is not something you're born with. And I am a firm believer that when we show up imperfectly, start before you're ready, right? You are going to all of a sudden practice something and find the evidence that, wait a minute, I'm becoming better at it. And the
Mm.
more that you practice it, the more that you show up, the more competency you're going to get in a skill. Once you have the competency, then the confidence follows, but it doesn't happen before that. And that's an incredible, important part of the conversation and confidence. Most people will say to you, oh, you need to stand in front of the mirror and power pose, and you're going to feel confident. It's bullshit. Sorry. I don't know if I can say that, but
You
it's
can say
bullshit.
whatever you want.
Yeah. It's about doing the boring stuff every single day, doing the thing that you don't feel like doing. And then all of a sudden being able to look back and say, huh, okay, I did it. I got that. And then
Hmm.
all of a sudden it gives you that umph that you can do it. We if we had to rely on motivation, one of my mentors is Dr. BJ Fogg. That's where I got certified. He's the behavior design scientist that wrote Tiny Habits.
Mm.
And one of the things that he talks about is how motivation is so unreliable. And most individuals, humans, we rely on motivation and we feel when I feel motivated, when I'm gun ho, when I got the thing going on. And most entrepreneurs spend so much time in the learning that they don't ever get to the implementation. And it is the failure of not doing it right. It is the failure of the imperfection. And when we're being messy at doing the thing that helps us learn and helps us figure out how to not do the wrong thing and do it right and show
Hmm.
up and be successful at what we want to do.
So I love that you're not bringing up fake it till you make it because that drives me
Yeah.
batshit crazy. Because
Yeah.
that, I think, actually feeds onto our imposter syndrome. Versus, as you're
Mm.
saying, do the small steps, do the
Yeah.
small things because it's through learning. Like
Hmm.
we didn't learn how to walk just by standing up and walking. We
Oh,
fell and
100%.
it's, and we also had help a
Yeah.
lot of times as well. But
That's
it's
right.
not about putting on this persona of
Mhm.
I'm so and so and doing such and such.
Sure. And
It's
and
coming.
Stephanie, you
Yeah,
said something that is so true. And if we think about, for the most part, when we started walking, did we fall? Absolutely. Now,
many,
what
many times.
happened when we fell?
We
We
got
didn't
back
have
up.
someone beating us up and saying, oh my God, look how dumb you are. You fell. Or that's terrible. I can't believe you didn't walk and didn't run right away. No, we're like, oh, yeah, you're okay. You're okay. Okay, get up again. Someone is there cheering us on. And somewhere
Yeah.
along the line, we may not have these cheerleaders, but we have to become our own cheerleader and have our back. We have to be the person who then says, I'm going to cheer myself on and give ourselves credit because here's the science behind it. When we do something and we do it, even if it's a small thing, and we show up and we say, good job, Julie, you did that. And we reaffirm that identity, right? That I'm doing it, then our brain says, "Ooh, every time I do that, I feel good."
Hmm.
And that becomes a habit. That
Yeah.
becomes a new neural pathway in your brain that really automates that behavior and it becomes part of who you are because we like feeling good. Every time we beat ourselves up for not doing it, for not having it, for not knowing, for not being enough, then our brain is going to say, I'm not good enough. And we're not going to be able to show up and accomplish things.
Yeah. So it really is about flipping the coin of instead of saying, I'm going to take action when I feel confident,
Mhm.
confidence is actually built from us taking action.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's what moves the needle. It is the
Yeah.
first and foremost, and when we're looking at ourselves, Think about the times in which you were able to accomplish something. Did you show up and practice the skill? Of course. Did you try and maybe do it imperfectly until you learn? I hear a lot of individuals too in the corporate environment that say, I want to apply for this job, but I don't know how to do that job. And I don't meet all the requirements for the job.
Mm.
When I was in my corporate career, and I put out, postings for jobs, I didn't expect the person to be perfect when they came in. I expected the candidate to have a level of understanding and the willingness to learn and then become that person that
Yeah.
did that job description. But you don't come in just knowing it all. It's impossible.
Yeah. And
Even there was the announcement of Tim Cook resigning as
mm,
the CEO of Apple. When he came into that position, did he know how to run Apple? No, he was an engineer. He was a nerd. He was like a person that doer. And he grew into that job and made it his own and made Apple even more successful than it ever was under Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs still had his place in creating the legacy and being that visionary. But Tim Cook, he showed up imperfectly and then he made it his own. And that's, what created a successful company, a successful model.
and I think this is an important conversation, especially for women, because in my 27 years on Wall
Mm-hmm.
Street, I saw repeatedly men applying for a position that they
Sure.
knew they might have had 50%, maybe 70% of the
Yeah.
skills.
Mm-hmm.
Women were expecting to meet almost all of the requirements, and I did it as well
Yeah,
earlier
sure.
in my career. And so we as women hold ourselves back. And I think looking at even um, the CEO of Apple stepping down, when he stepped into that role, he didn't know. And
Yeah.
so where we as women can not expect ourselves to be perfect
Mm-hmm.
and to let go of that idea of I have to have everything all lined up.
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
what a lot of us were taught.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's
Sure.
also breaking those cycles of I don't have to be perfect. I don't
Yeah.
have to have it all together. I don't have to pretend to be an imposter who has
Mm-hmm.
everything that's needed for whatever I'm doing, whether I'm stepping into a role or I'm marketing my offer,
Absolutely. And you know
right?
what? And here's the thing, one of my mentors is Pat Flynn, and his latest book, A Lean Learning. It's a perfect example, right? You don't have to already spend because when we decide we're going to do something, but first I need that coaching certification before I start. First, I'm going to need to have the perfect website, and first, all these first delay you. And when you're trying to, have the smokes and mirrors that you have it all together, you are not going to resonate as deeply as somebody else who says, you know what, I'm figuring this out as I go along, and you're
Mhm.
coming with me, right?
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference. I have a coach and friend who I worked with for many years. She's the founder of the No BS weight loss group program. And I met Corinne in 2009. Now, the beauty of Corinne, even when she didn't have 11,000 members in her membership, she had 25 of us, right? The beauty of what Corinne did is that she said, hey, I lost 100 pounds. And do I struggle? Do I have it all together? Do I know all the answers? No. But you know what? I'm learning to food prep with me. I'm
Mhm.
learning to manage my emotions. Let's do that together. And when we saw her fail and when we saw that humanity,
Yeah.
it reminded us that, well, she was successful despite what she was not able to do or what she's failed at. So I also can, right? And that's what in the podcast, I often call believing mirrors. We become each other's believing mirrors that
Mhm.
allows us to see what is capable and possible for us
Yeah.
if we decide to show up. Because sometimes we need the reminder that we can do it, but we need someone back to and reflecting that to us.
We do. And I'm also seeing a big shift of gurus being taken off of the pedestal. Because we're all,
Yeah.
as Ram Dass said, we're all walking each other home. I may
Yeah.
have experience that you don't have, and vice
Mhm.
versa, but I'm not above you. I'm not
Mhm.
below you.
No,
I'm not
no.
above or below anyone else.
Mhm.
We're offering our humanity and our experience to help those who resonate with our message. And
Yeah.
when we're trying to pretend, people are starting to see through that as well.
Yeah.
So I like the shift
100%.
that I'm seeing across everywhere.
Mhm. Yeah, no,
Um,
absolutely. And there it's
yeah.
got to be a shift. For
Hmm.
so many years, um we had these people who we looked up to. And still, there's a lot of individuals who I admire, but what I admire about individuals is their ability to say, "Hey, this is where I went wrong, and I'm going to
Hmm.
tell you now because you shouldn't be making the same mistake." And by the way,
Yes.
it's the same thing that I've learned to do with clients. I tell you right away, "Hey, I didn't know how to do that, and this is why I teach you that."
Mhm.
Because that was that I guess side road that I went on that distracted me from getting to the destination of whatever that might be.
Yeah, we're sharing our humanity
Hmm.
because it's the actions that we took that we got to learn that we
Yeah.
now get to share with other people. So you have a free confident visibility offer audit
Mm,
that you are
yeah.
offering to those who are listening in on this. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, you know what? This is one of my favorite things. And I I had someone, and I didn't know that this is what it is or if he called it that, but one of my first coaches when I launched my business, this is what he did. He actually went through and said, "Okay, give me your website, give me your everything, and let's see from the outsider point looking in, you're going to tell me what do you do, who do you serve, what do you do for them, and what's a transformation. And then I'm going to take a look at the whole picture, and I'm going to tell you what may be some of the roadblocks or some of the places where your message or your offer or your system to deliver is not working, right? Because once you kind of fix that and people understand who you are, what you do, what you help them with, and then you can deliver on that, and all of the systems are working together the way they should, then it's much easier to run your business and you kind of set it and forget it. And that's the visibility audit. I'm not just looking at your social media or your website, but I'm really looking at the internal infrastructure also of what you have available and coming up with the reasons why perhaps you made $1,000 next last month, and this month you're going to have 500, and hopefully you're looking to make 10,000 the next month.
Mhm.
That's a really big issue. That consistency and predictable income is something that many entrepreneurs have, and women in midlife entrepreneurs in particular, Stephanie, they struggle with that consistent income, and
Mhm.
they're riding that roller coaster, and they're the ones who, there's a stat that says that only 20% of women who have a business make over $100,000 a year, right? And that means that everybody who you're seeing online most likely is not making the money that they tell you they're making, right?
Right. And
And
there's
if they are making money, is it covering the bills or is it just play
right.
money because they're running a hobby, right?
Right.
And that's the thing that I want people to really understand. And the reason that I feel so passionate about this and why I do the work that I do is because at the end of the day, many entrepreneurs at the end of 5 years don't have a business anymore. They go back to get a job or they do something else.
82%
Yeah,
drop out
drop
by
out.
5 years. And I think it's 75% in the first year.
Mhm.
And I think because of the
100%. Yeah.
inconsistency, and I love the audit that you're offering
Mhm.
because we can't see our own blind spots.
Yeah. We need someone else to call it out. And, and,
Yes.
and, and by the way, coaches have coaches, and I work really hard to have the resources that tell me, "Hey, what about this?" Or
Hmm.
"Look at that." And once I have that, that's the same thing that I do for other people because listen, I believe that we as women need to have that independence. We as women need to have the ability to create the impact on the lives of people we serve through what we are passionate about.
Yes.
But because when we have that stability of the income we need to live and to live the life we imagine, then there's freedom. And freedom and flexibility is why most of us start a business. We want that freedom and flexibility.
Amen. And it brings us back to Steve Jobs, who said everyone needs a coach. So they
Mhm.
do. So thank you so much for this conversation today.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Stephanie.
bringing us all together, for writing Confident You, the Raw Conversations, because I've
Mm.
gotten to meet an amazing group of humans who are bringing their humanity to the world and all here to make it a better place.
Well,
And
Stephanie, thank you for saying yes. And thank you for, seeing the vision that I had in the very beginning, the imperfect vision, but what ultimately became such a powerful tool and such a powerful book in which we are creating this manifesto for other women.
mhm.
You can do it. You can rise. You can unbecome. You can awaken yourself to a new life. And then you can turn around and help others in the process.
Yes. Thank you so much for
You're
all of
welcome,
this
my
and for
friend.
your time today and for this amazing conversation.
Thank you.